There's a power that's available to every single one of us. It's been used by leaders in moments of just unthinkable crisis. And it's been praised by ancient philosophers as pretty much the highest virtue you can have. But in our noisy, frantic world, it's a power most of us have completely forgotten about. So picture this. It's October 1962. The CIA has just found Soviet nuclear missile sites in Cuba, just 90 miles off the coast of Florida. The stakes? They couldn't be higher. If things went wrong, intelligence estimates said as many as 70 million people would die in the first strikes alone. The entire world was holding its breath. For 13 absolutely terrifying days, two superpowers stood right on the edge of wiping each other out. The tension was just suffocating. As the Secretary of State Dean Rusk put it, the two nations were eyeball to eyeball, locked in this high-stakes stare-down with the fate of all humanity hanging in the balance. So in the middle of all this chaos, with his advisors screaming for an immediate, overwhelming military attack, President John F. Kennedy did something pretty remarkable. He pushed back. He resisted that primal urge to just react with aggression. Instead of chaos, he chose clarity. In what was probably the loudest, most stressful room in the world, he found stillness. And you know what? That choice, it saved us all. But what Kennedy tapped into, it wasn't some new age leadership hack. No, it's an ancient key to wisdom, to performance, and to peace, one that's been revered for thousands and thousands of years. So what even is stillness? Well, it's not about doing nothing, not at all. It's kind of the exact opposite. It's the ability to tune out all the noise, both the stuff happening around you and the chatter inside your own head, so you can focus on what actually matters. It's this calm confidence that lets you take decisive, clear-headed action, even when everything around you is totally falling apart. And what's so fascinating is how universal this idea is. Seriously, the Stoics, they called it apatheia. The Buddhists, upekkha. The Epicureans, ataraxia. It doesn't matter what language or what era, almost every major philosophy and religion in history pointed to this inner peace as the highest good. And hey, when all the wisdom of the ancient world agrees on something, we should probably pay attention. And we really need to pay attention now, more than ever. Because if finding stillness was hard back in ancient Rome, today it's a full-blown battle. We are living in an age that is actively hostile to quiet. I mean, think about it. Our phones are buzzing constantly. Our inboxes are overflowing. The news cycle is just bombarding us with one crisis after another. We're overstimulated, we're overscheduled, and we're always being pressured to react instantly. Our attention is fractured, our minds are cluttered, and real, deep focus, it feels almost impossible. And that's not just you, it's the environment we're all swimming in. The Stoic philosopher Epictetus understood this 2,000 years ago. And in this modern battle for our focus, his words are more on point than ever. If we don't deliberately choose where to direct our mental energy, believe me, the algorithms, the advertisers, and the outrage machines will be more than happy to choose for us. So this is how we can actually apply that ancient wisdom today. Stillness lets us practice what a lot of modern leadership experts call focused action. It's all about consciously cutting through all that digital noise to put our energy where it's going to have the most impact. Being intentional with our time and attention, instead of just being reactive all day. Okay, so how do we actually do this? How do we cultivate this stillness? Well, the ancient philosophers broke it down into this timeless trinity, 3 separate but totally connected domains we need to master. So let's dive into each one, starting with the mind. All right, the first domain is our inner world, that constant chatter of our thoughts, our worries, and all our preconceptions. Gaining some control here is really the foundation for everything else. To still the mind, we've got a 3-step approach. First, limit your inputs. Just stop endlessly scrolling the news. Be okay with being, as Epictetus said, a little clueless on extraneous matters. Second, you have to give yourself a space to actually process your thoughts. And third, you need to create time to think deeply, away from all the chatter. That means trading the social media timeline for a timeless book. And for that second step, processing your thoughts, there is honestly no better tool than a journal. As Anne Frank wrote from her hiding place, paper has more patience than people. Journaling is where you can just pour out all your anxieties, untangle your problems, and clarify your thinking without any judgment. Think of it as an exercise in mental decluttering. Okay, next up, we move to the domain of the spirit. Now, this isn't necessarily about religion. It's more about your character, your soul, your inner moral compass. It's about what truly matters to you, deep down. Cultivating spiritual stillness means anchoring yourself in something that's bigger than your own ego. Choose virtue. Be present enough to just enjoy a sunset. As the Roman Emperor Marcus Aurelius wrote over 80 times in his journal, focus on the common good. By shifting our focus from our own selfish desires to our duties to other people, we find this really profound sense of inner peace. And finally, we absolutely cannot neglect the physical. The mind, the spirit, and the body, they're all completely linked. A restless body just cannot house a still mind or a peaceful spirit. It just doesn't work that way. So, building a routine, it creates structure that pushes back against chaos. Taking a walk, it helps untangle your thoughts and literally gets more blood flowing to your brain. Seeking out solitude, even for just a few minutes, gives your mind space to recharge. And finding a hobby, something you do just for the love of it, not to be productive, is so restorative. Your body is busy, but your mind and your heart are open. And when you bring these three domains, the mind, the spirit, and the body, into harmony, you unlock something really powerful. You find that stillness isn't a weakness, and it isn't a luxury. It's a strategic advantage. It is your superpower in a loud, chaotic world. Now, a lot of the wisdom in this explainer is distilled in Ryan Holiday's incredible book, Stillness Is the Key. It just masterfully pulls together thousands of years of philosophy into a really practical guide for finding focus, clarity, and peace in our crazy modern lives. The key takeaway here is simple, but it's also incredibly profound. Stillness isn't about escaping the world. No. It's the very thing that allows you to engage with it effectively. It is the key that unlocks clear thought, wise decisions, and a life full of meaning and purpose. Just like Lincoln identified that the city of Vicksburg was the key to winning the Civil War, and Kennedy found that stillness was the key to avoiding a nuclear one, we all have a key that can unlock a better path forward. So the question for you is, what is it? And how can a little more stillness help you find it?